Hi, this is James, and this is the last video I'm making in my series before my EP comes out, April 18th. Old Conversations by James Coe. Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out. This video is about why do artists, especially now, want to do everything themselves. And I'm making this because with this EP, I did everything myself. I wrote everything, I produced, I mixed, I mastered, I did all the promotion, video editing, recording, video ideas, scripts, whatever. It was all me. And I guess this video is kind of bragging about that, but it's also talking about why that is now more than ever a thing. And it's accessibility, right? It's more accessible now than ever to make something. I don't know anyone who doesn't make beats who's into music at this point. Like, it's kind of facetious, but at the same time, it's not. Everyone can do something. Everyone can make something. Everyone can write something. Not everyone can do everything themselves, but it's becoming more and more normal. And I don't know if it's inspiration by artists like JPEG Mafia or Tyler the Creator, people who do everything themselves, even like A$AP Rocky directing his own videos, or just how many artists now also produce their own stuff and maybe just send it off to a mastering engineer like, To Hollis, who writes, produces, and performs all of his stuff and just sends it to a mastering engineer. I think now more than ever, not only the accessibility, but also just culturally, I think the most authentic you can be is to do everything yourself. That's kind of the perspective that's been ingrained in us, because selling out now is viewed as something all artists do. It's something all artists must do to survive. Selling out, what used to be, that was the marker of what made you not genuine, and anything you did before that was something genuine. But the moment you started doing brand deals, the moment you started like licensing your music, that was when you lost authenticity. But now it's how many people are involved in the process, how many writers are listed on your track. That became so big. And I understand in rap why that is so big, because rap is so writing heavy and writing focused. And when rap became the biggest genre in the world, of course, culturally, we're going to see writing as the biggest component of what makes something authentic or not. So when Pusha T and Drake were beefing, one of the biggest knocks on Drake at the time was he has ghostwriters. And obviously that was before there was stuff with that, but at the time that was a big part of the beef, even with the Kendrick beef with Drake. But with, in general, I think authenticity being viewed as how much is done yourself is in a lot of ways better, because you can sell out and still be genuine because you just happen to mark the stylistic, leanings of the time. That's kind of Henry Rollins said that about Green Day, where he was like, Green Day didn't sell out. They were always doing their Green Day thing. They were always doing what they were doing. It just happened to be a sound that became popular. Now, I would say, was their album 21st Century Breakdown or whatever? It definitely feels like a sellout album. That album does it's not as good. But by and large, artists now are encouraged to sell out. Get your bag. That's the mindset. Fans now encourage it. They like ads that feature. When Kanye back in 2022 maybe was on the Super Bowl ad for McDonald's where he exits his Jesus truck and is can I get a or whatever. That one. Kanye fans were like, this is awesome. Any time before that, if an artist of that size was doing that, it would be frowned upon or looked at as corny. And if Madonna had done that in the early 90s, that would have been seen as weird. But by the mid to late 90s, that would have been seen as well, that's Madonna. It makes sense. But that's just kind of a rant about authenticity, but kind of back to the main point of why do artists want to do everything themselves? Outside of seeming genuine and outside of the whole accessibility argument, it just comes down to what is affordable. No one knows in creative industries the rates that are appropriate for anything, right? Nothing really makes sense, because applying a rate to something creatively is one of the most difficult things you can do. That's why people now with writing credits would much rather give a percentage off than give an initial payment, because you have no idea how much that small percentage is going to make someone. It might make them $100, it might make them a few thousand, whereas if you pay them $1,000 up front, and they don't get really any cut of the song, or maybe they get like the tiniest bit, like that's a much safer bet. But at the same time, what's the point of that? If you're the writer, you'd almost much rather have like a bigger cut, because you don't know the streaming revenue. But I don't know. It is something that like is worth thinking about, because applying a rate to anything creative implies that there should be a return on the investment that you're getting in, right? And you can't really do that when almost everything is defined by what the audience wants. And you should never make something based on what the audience wants. It should always be based on what you want as the artist. So how do you apply a rate creatively? Wouldn't you rather just do it yourself? It saves so much money. Now, it doesn't save time. That is what you're paying for, is the time it saves the artist. If that's the difference between you getting this album out in 3 months earlier and you can book X amount more shows, that makes sense. If you think that there's not going to be a significant decrease in quality from you not doing it. Or if you do think there's going to be a significant increase in quality from you doing it, or from you not doing it, then don't do it. But yeah, I think these are kind of my thoughts on this. I want to make this a quick video because I want to spend some time at the end talking about my process with the EP I'm dropping tonight. Because I'm recording this April 17th and editing it. The video is coming out kind of late relative to my other videos in the series. Doing everything myself was something I never intentionally did. I try to spend as little money on my own music as possible. I own Logic. That's pretty much the only major investment I put into it. I own Logic and a cheap MIDI keyboard and this microphone. That's kind of it. I'm a big believer in like doing as little as possible financially until you get any sort of traction or you start making a genuine profit from it. Because the difference between your song being this big and this big is not one plugin. If you ask someone what reverb is who listens to music, maybe 20% would be able to kind of answer. And those are going to be people who also make music. So when you really think about it, what's more important is the general aesthetic of your music in terms of reaching a broader audience. And if I can be genuine in my music without needing Valhalla Vintage Verb, then I'm not going to get Valhalla Vintage Verb until I'm making enough money off my music to where I can get that. And it's obviously not going to hinder my music. It would only enhance it. But like, there is a beauty in simplicity. There's a beauty in avoiding extra things. There's a beauty in having a concise process and doing things yourself for as little as possible. So yeah, I mean, the hidden benefit of doing everything yourself with music is the pride you get when you finish it. You don't have to credit anyone else. It's entirely you. Any positives you can take in stride. In the same way, any negatives are feedback for you. If someone hears it and goes, this mix is horrible, it's hard on my ears, the bass is too loud, or the bass is too quiet, or this snare is like sharp and ringy, and whatever the complaint is, it's on you. And you can change, and you can hear it and be like, I think this needs to be adjusted. Or you can hear it and be like, that was intentional. They don't get the vision. They don't get what I'm trying to express. And that's okay. And that's really what I think the broader message of this whole series is like, a lot of it is very opinion based. A lot of the things I'm saying are based on my short experience that I've had. I'm 19 years old. I've only experienced so much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really ranting on the internet, giving some advice. I've only experienced so much of life, and I'm not really an artist at heart. I'm really more of someone who I want to produce for other people. That's really my main goal. I don't love being an artist. Writing is not something I love doing. I do it because I believe I should do it and because I have to. That's really my mindset. So yeah, I mean, if you've watched any of these videos and you've left a comment, you've been part of the process, because I've been someone who's taking in that feedback, and I see it and I'm like, oh, maybe I should spend more time articulating this in this video. Maybe I should mention this album in this video, you know? Maybe, oh, this is really resonating with people. This is getting more likes. Okay, maybe people enjoy hearing me talk about this more. I should stop focusing on maybe this aspect of this thing and spend more time talking about this. And it's not because any of it is disingenuous and it's not what I want to say, but it's because there's so many things I want to say, but this just happens to be something that benefits other people more, or it makes their days maybe relatively better to see it. And at the end of the day, if I can do something I love and express something that I want to express, and as a byproduct, help someone else out, I guess, even if it's not really helping them out at all, even if it's just they kind of enjoyed wasting time while hearing it, that's a great thing. And that's kind of how I want my music to be too. My music is a stepping stone. It's a checkpoint because it's entirely me. It is, here's my abilities as a writer, as a singer, as a producer, as a mixer, as a mastering. Here's my experience as a video editor. Here's my experience as someone who's trying to promote something. And yeah, I guess this is it. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much if you watched any other video in this series. It means a lot to me. It means so much to me. Check out the EP when it comes out. I know this video was a long one and nonstop talking. There's probably going to be minimal cuts on this. But yeah, subscribe, leave a like, listen to Old Conversations by James Coe tonight.